No racing today, so let's spend some time talking to some of the racers. First up is Marv Jenkins and the famous Mormon Meteor 3.
Hi, I'm Marv Jenkins, and we're standing here on the Salt Flats, and we've got the Mormon Meteor sitting here behind us, and this is a car that my dad, I'm a son of Ab Jenkins, and Augie Duesenberg built in 1938. At the time, I was living with Augie Duesenberg. I was 18 and got in on a lot of the construction of the car. Now, the car was made for one purpose, and that's for setting the 24-hour records on the salt. And we walk around it here. I'll be able to show you some of the features that they put into the car just based on that. One of the first features that we had to have was an engine that would stand 24 hours at a constant speed. Now, this is a Curtiss Conker aircraft engine. It was developed for the government by Curtiss Aircraft, and the patents around it run from 1922 to 1928. So it's an old engine. It's 1,570 cubic inches, and it only turns 2,400 to develop all of its horsepower. Now, that makes it real reliable, as most aircraft engines are. So this engine was taken to Lycoming, and we developed a method of putting a flywheel and bell housing and a Spicer transmission on it in order to be able to use it in the race car. Now, Augie Duesenberg is the Duesenberg automobile man, and he did the engineering work, and probably is one of the few people that ever lived that could not only put a complete car and engine on paper, but then could do all of the work, including the welding. He did a lot of the welding on putting this car together. This body is all out of a soft aluminum. It's called SO aluminum at that date. If you can see, there's even welds in this hood here. And it's gas welded because at the time there was no such thing as heliarc, which is so easy to weld now. All of this is aluminum, and you can see the welds and whatnot. Of course, they're not polished. Now, some of the things that we had to contend with at the time was that this is on a 10-mile circle course, and in order to have the car perform, you needed two things. One, be able to run long enough that you didn't have to stop so often, because the records were set with a standing start, and all of your stops were against you. We had 16 stops in 24 hours. So we developed a large tank in here. We have 108 gallons of fuel. Even though this only got 3 miles a gallon, we could run with just 16 stops. Now, that much weight in there created a problem at those days with a stiff axle in there. The unsprung weight, when it was empty of fuel, it got to where it equaled the sprung weight and threw the car around. So Augie developed a rear end that has two CVE joints, and it's mounted solid. And if you'll notice the camber on the rear wheel, when it's full of fuel, that wheel will straighten right out. But this overcome one of the big problems that we had at that time. Now, at that time, nobody worried too much about the comfort of a driver. It's really fairly crowded for anybody that's of any size. We straddled the transmission, and we had a throttle on each side because your foot would get so tired running with one foot on the pedal and the other. Of course, was just a standard clutch and brake setup on the other two pedals. Now, in the back of the car here, if you take a notice, this whole tail is soft aluminum. A pattern was made that Augie made, and then they took and made pieces to fit the pattern, then spot welded, took it off, and gas welded the whole length of it, hand pounded it in two halves. Then they ran a bead around the whole top of this thing, but not being able to get a hand up in here to finish this off, they'd cut a hole here, get up and work this, come back and plug the hole and go down and do another piece. It's a type of work that I don't think we have any skilled labor that can do that at this time. And if you notice, the car is offset now 6 inches to the left. The chassis is 6 inches offset here. And that's Augie worked up a deal at 190 miles an hour that had equal weight on the tires, because we're making a constant turn on a 10-mile circle. And this developed a setup that gave it all the difference in the world of the handling over the cars we had run in previous years. The body was designed, and Augie found out what he could in 1938 about aerodynamics. But one of the things was that there's no flat surfaces. You notice the body is radiused, and he also used a negative deal on the tail here. There's more distance coming down. It's all belly panned. When it comes to the back, it has a negative down pressure on it here, which is what they're doing with the wings on the cars now. Now this rear end that I was telling you about is something that Corvette and the fancy race cars of Europe have now, and this is something he did in 1938. He also developed a special, this engine had so much torque that we could spin the engine, and the clutch wouldn't hold. He made a centrifugal lock that went in at 90 miles an hour, so there was no possibility of having spinning. And the car here, as you see, has the state of Utah insignia and the Mormon Meteor and the American flag on it. Now this was, the name of the car was developed in 1935 by the Deseret News, which is local Salt Lake paper, having a contest, and had all of the school kids write in names, and this is the one that won the prize, was a Mormon Meteor. One of the school kids there that developed that. We had two Meteors before this. One was a Duesenberg in 35, another one was the Duesenberg with this engine, and then this, we took the big engine and developed this whole car just for this one phase, and it was called Mormon Meteor 3. The grill on this and the lights were developed there that we could come into the pits. Here we've got a little float level there that shows it's a dry sump engine, meaning there's about 8 or 9 gallons in a tank here, and we have a float level there that show where it was when we come in the pits. And on the other side here is an opening where they just read the level, and then we could put the oil in. We have 4 grease zert fittings back there that could hit all the universal joints, and we got to where we could take 4 of these tires, had cam over jacks, front end and back end off at the same time, and we weren't limited to the number of people, but we'd pull all 4 wheels, put about 80 gallons of fuel, check the oil, and give Dad some orange juice in less than a minute. But the design lines in this were so unique, and for the, like I say, the years that it was built in 1938, that it still is a classic that designers and whatnot now just marvel at what Augie Duesenberg did with this. Well, that's about all I can tell you here without starting to lie to you.